Hello and welcome to Coffee with Carey. Thank you for being here today, stopping by, because you wanted to know my 5 rules that you must follow before getting back out there into the dating world, onto the dating scene, having your friends fixing you up, being on any of the apps, having a matchmaker of your own. If you are unaware, the reason my advice counts for anything besides the fact that I usually give pretty good advice, it's because I am a matchmaker and a dating coach here in the Chicago area. And date coaching is just part of what comes along when you're a matchmaker and you and a client are on a journey as a team trying to find them a great match, knowing all that you can about them, making sure everybody's on the same page, and for all of us to be growing at the same time so that we are becoming our best selves. I'm becoming the best matchmaker and the best person I can be. I'm working on that. I try to encourage my clients to become the best versions of themselves as well. And that's where the date coaching comes in. So if this is interesting to you today, no makeup tutorials, no beauty or fashion, straight up dating advice. That's what we're up to. So if that's cool, stick around. Number 1 is be single. That means you would have taken some time for yourself between whatever was going on in a relationship before, whether you lost a partner, whether you are divorced, whether you ended a long-term relationship. Be single. People will just take you much more seriously. I always try to make sure that everybody I'm matching is on the same page and at the same place in the process of having done the work to put into perspective whatever they were leaving as they're entering something new, to make sure they are in a good spot for moving forward. And a lot of my clients won't even date anybody who isn't divorced yet. I'm trying to balance this. I know a lot of people are divorced, but there are also some widows out there, and I don't want to forget about them and not include them in this. So I'd say be single if you were married or in a very long term or a serious relationship. Understand why that relationship ended, understand your role in it, and be in a good place to be accepting something new and not holding on to any baggage from what you were dealing with previously. And for those of you who lost a partner, obviously give yourself some time to put all of that into perspective and appreciate all that you had, knowing that you are going to be finding, if you are out there looking again, someone who is very different. No one's ever going to take the place of somebody you lost. So to have a good mindset as to making a start and the things you would be looking for now, who you are now, because of course you're not the same person you were when you met your last partner, which is good advice for all of us. Be single and take stock. Know where you are, where you want to go, so that you're going to be choosing the right partners. I think that a lot of times people who have had a very long and arduous divorce tend to want to get out there and start meeting new people and getting their feet wet in the dating scene, and they will get on the apps or ask their friends to fix them up and just to see what's out there. And I think a lot of people who meet you and know that that's your situation aren't really taking it as seriously as they would if you were starting this process already being single, already being free, and being available. It just adds a layer of trust for the other person, and I think they may be too concerned that they're a rebound, that the work hasn't been done. So number 1 is be single before you start dating. And before I let this go, I think that you need some time and space in order to get yourself where you can be vulnerable. And I think if you're just jumping out of something and into something new, a lot of people do have a rebound relationship. But if you're really looking for your next partner, you need to clear that headspace out and know yourself well enough that you can truly be vulnerable to somebody new. The second rule you need to follow ties into this first one. They kind of all go together a little bit, is that you need to have done the work. Rule number 2, do the work. You want to be out there and be free and clear of your past and ready to start something new. You want to be well aware of what role you played in the end of your last relationship, if it was a breakup or a divorce. Things never end because of one person. So If I meet somebody, I'm screening some gentleman, say for a female client of mine, and he tells me it ends because she did this, that, and the other, or she wanted this, that, and the other, and she decided to leave, I ask him right out, what role did you play in the ending, the fact that your marriage ended? And if he has not done the work to know what part he played in that, I was too busy with work, or I lost sight of the fact that we needed to be working at that, or I didn't take the time for my family, or whatever the reasons might be, whatever role he may have played in the end of his marriage, I think he should know that before getting into something new, because otherwise you're bound to just make the same mistakes. Also, in that category there, I think it's important that you figure out who that person was and why it didn't work, so that you're not going to just make sweeping generalizations and say, I just don't date guys who are in sales. They're just too egocentric, or whatever you might think he was, the last one that didn't work out. So in order to be able to see people as individuals, you need to do the work and figure out what specifically went wrong. What qualities are you not looking for? Or what was missing that you definitely feel you need this next time around? Part of doing the work is taking some time for yourself to heal. Time to get over anything that still feels painful to you. Something that makes you feel sad about the end of something. So taking time to get perspective and heal any wounds you have emotionally is important. And also part of this work is seeing yourself as a self and not as a couple, and being able to take some past experiences, let's just say a vacation to Australia, and to be able to share that story with someone new from the perspective of your own time there and your own thoughts about it, your own experiences, what you thought, not what somebody else thought. For instance, let's say you got to spend some time with koala bears in some type of a retreat. You don't want to share the part of the story that was, he's always been a fan of koala bears, so we went to this place, not we, I went to this koala bear place. Share your experience. So some time to separate experiences and who you are as a person from being part of a couple. That's part of the work too. The third rule you need to follow before getting out there dating is to be able to be your true, authentic self. Does that sound easy to you? I don't know. I think for some people it is, and I think for some people it's very, very difficult. Some of us, we got to go back to number 2 and do the work and figure out who we are, what our passions are now. A person in our own right, not part of a couple. But I think that you've got to make that connection with your confidence in your self-esteem and your self-awareness to truly know who you are, to do that work, to figure out what exactly you're looking for, what your expectations are, what boundaries you're going to set, and be authentic to all of that. You have to know yourself before you can show it to somebody else. Maybe watch my When Bad Advice Happens to Good People, episode number 2, I think, is the fact that be yourself is not always great advice. I'll put a link to it right here. But in this case, figuring out how to bring your best self, your openness, your kindness, and all of your fine qualities to meet somebody new, I think that's important. And we talk a lot about finding out who you are and what parts of yourself to bring to a date. There's lots of other episodes that we've done on that. I think if you figure out what it means to you, you're on the right track. The fourth rule before you get out there dating is to understand what you're looking for. I think that's really only fair, not only to yourself, but to the people you're meeting. This might take more thinking than you are prepared to consider here, because a lot of people just automatically think, I want exactly what I had before, or I definitely want marriage again and to have a full-fledged partnership that looks very similar to what I came out of. But if you take that time and you do that work that we talked about, it's not always the case. Sometimes people realize throughout our experiences that they thought they didn't want to get married again. They just wanted companionship. And they realized throughout the dating process and talking to people that really they don't want marriage again. They would still like to live independently, but have someone, I don't want to say on call, that cheapens it, but a true companion living as individuals, but as a couple that they can have someone to go with and be with and share with and spend their weekends with. But the way that some people like to have separate bedrooms in a marriage these days, even young people, because of their actual sleep. Some people like their living space and don't want to share their living space, but they do want a partner. So they need to be aware of what they're truly looking for so they can communicate that to another person and make sure that they're on the same page. Because you don't want someone to think you're looking for marriage like they are, and then in fact you're looking for something that looks very different. And in the same way that if you are looking for marriage and you would want to know that this person is just looking for something much more casual, I just think it's really only fair that people are really good communicators about what they're looking for. And in order to communicate it, you need to have thought about it and you need to know it. So that's your rule. Know what you're looking for. And not only know, but understand, and understand the why behind it. Self-awareness is a great thing. So any time spent in getting to know yourself better is great for becoming part of a couple. The fifth and final rule on what you must do before getting back out there into the dating world, if this is all new to you, is to take your family into account. This could be extended family. It is most definitely children. I think there has to be some prep work with children of any age before you're out there seriously looking for another partner. They need to be made aware of the fact that this is the right time for you. There should be a conversation. I'm assuming if you're a middle-aged person, who is most of my friends here, that your children aren't 5 and 6 years old. So they're probably old enough to have a conversation about the fact that you are deciding now that you would like to have a partner to share the rest of your life with, or that you are looking for some companionship, somebody to do things with, because there's things you want to do and experience and they would be more fun for you with a partner. I think that the same conversations that you would have with your children to let them in on the fact that you are dating again. And I have run into some people who have not had a conversation with their children, and they know that they're not going to allow anybody to meet their children until they've been seeing them for quite some time, and they may have a rule set about how long that time period is going to be. That's fine if that's your rule, but I think to at least have thought about and considered the family, your parents, perhaps if you're lucky enough to still have them with you, or if you're very close with a sibling, somebody, your friends can even be considered your family, but at least to figure out how you want to present this to other people, because you are not an island out there dating. You have people in your life, and I think to share with them where you are in this journey and let them know that you are open to meeting other people has a lot of good things that can come from it, including them meeting people and thinking of you as someone who might want to meet someone new, playing matchmaker for you. Children for sure, but extended family, very close friends, to include them in what you're looking for, what your plans are, the fact that you think you are ready. And it's great to have somebody close to you who you can bounce things off of after a date. If you don't have a matchmaker of your own, you are going to be putting yourself out there and being vulnerable, trying to meet somebody new. Include your family in this adventure. In most situations, they're really rooting for you and happy to hear about it and will be supportive. So those are my 5 rules things you must do before you put yourself out there into the dating world again after an absence, for sure. Let me know what you think. If you have a couple others, I would love to read them down in my comment section should you choose to leave them there. Always love to hear from you. Please subscribe to my channel, hit that ring bell button so you're notified every time I upload a new video. You can even give it a thumbs up if you found something helpful here. I truly appreciate your time being here, as I always do, and until I see you the next time, have a good one.